following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
14:20 in the morning, 14 minutes and 20 seconds where the sports talk to get you through your daily commute. Hot takes, recaps, best bets, and a little humor to get your day going in the right direction. Sit back, grab your coffee, and let's get into it. All right, 14:20 in the morning for this, March the 23rd, 2023. Today's show, as every morning, is brought to you by Barn Burner Hockey and barnburnerhockey.ca. Use promo code 1420 at barnburnerhockey.ca for their all-natural hockey products and apparel today. Some news came across the wire a little bit earlier on or late last week. Now it really hit the news yesterday. The Quebec Major Junior Hockey League is planning on banning fighting completely out of their league, 100%. That's it. No more fighting, no more fisticuffs, no more shenanigans. There's a little bit of a background to it. It's not just the one crowd, the other crowd, the CTE. What it comes down to is that during COVID, I think it was the first year, 2020, or when it was the 21. It doesn't much matter. One of those COVID years, they all kind of meshed together back now that we look back on it. The QMJHL, they got a loan from the Quebec government. Each team got, I think it was $2 million to continue with the league and everything going on because there was no money coming in. Each team was given a chunk of change to keep afloat. And what happened is that the Minister of Sport said, yeah, here's some money, and the government said, yeah, here's some money, but we want some stipulations to come with this money. And on the loan, they were saying you're going to ban fighting. The Quebec Major Junior League said, yeah, we'll do what we can. We'll see what can happen. But now the government is calling for basically what you promised, what you're going to do. And the Minister of Sport, it doesn't matter what her name is or his name is, it doesn't much matter. I shouldn't have said that because I don't want people getting all upset and say it's a woke crowd, unwoke crowd, whatever it may be. But she said, or he said, or the person, Minister of Sport, I'm really blowing this one. The Minister of Sport said, you're getting rid of fighting, and this is what you're going to do, and you're going to do by the start of next season. Quebec Major Junior League said, well, yeah, we're going to try, and they said, no, you're going to do it. So QMJHL is going to ban fighting. What they proposed is if there is a fight for whatever reason, that they're going to say, yeah, we're done with fighting, and you're going to have a 1-game suspension plus the game that you're in plus a game after that. They already have in place in the Quebec League that if you fight 3 times, you get a 2-game suspension. Well, that wasn't good enough for the Minister of Sport. So now they're saying, okay, a 1-game suspension is a guaranteed fight or a guaranteed suspension for the next game plus. The problem that you have with that is that during the playoffs, let's say if a guy got a hat trick the first game in the playoffs, you get your 4th liner and you say, okay, go and take that guy out and get in a fight with him. So then that guy is out for let's say game 3 of the playoffs. Doesn't seem right, does it? No, it's not. So there is a competitive thing in that you have to look at. You can't just say ban fighting and ban fighting. There has to be some kind of a thing to go along with it. It's fighting in junior hockey is down to less than a fight per game as it is already. It's not the Wild West like it once was. The Western League was the Wild West to say the least, but it's not like it was back then when there was you would go to a hockey game, the fights would break out, or however the old saying was. The fighting is down considerably compared to what it used to be. It used to be a thing. You would go to a game and it was and then after the game, people would ask, or even if you played junior hockey or midget hockey or whatever it might have been, who won, or were there any fights? And the question wasn't actually always in that order. Were there any fights and who won was what people actually cared about. The game has changed a lot compared to what it was 20, 30, 40 years ago, obviously. For the better, 100%. We do have the CTE problem. All those players that there was suicide problems about 10, 12 years ago now. Jesus, time flies. It's like that. It's crazy. But there is a lot of guys who lost their lives because of fighting, and fighting is down considerably in the Western Hockey League, Quebec League, and the Ontario League. But I don't think you can get rid of it completely, just for the simple reason that there are ways teams are constructed, and there are ways that guys do make the National Hockey League, and not just on pure skill alone. And if you have just pure skill guys, you have a problem with your team construction, that there will always be, no matter what, there will always be the competitiveness of the game. And with the competitiveness of the game, there is situations that do arise, and you do have guys who run around a little bit and get a little bit rambunctious, and they do cause some problems, and they do like the hitting from behind or a knee and everything else. So you do need a guy who to be able to police it, to police the game a little bit. You can't expect referees to police the game 100% of the time. It's actually impossible for a referee to be able to do that, because they can't see everything and they can't call everything. And even if they do call everything, if a guy throws a knee on a Connor McDavid, let's say, and he's out for the season, he just got his 60th goal last night, man, he's unbelievable. But if you have a guy running around being a meathead, you need someone to give a little tap on the laces now and then and say, hey man, you better cool a little bit, because I'm not going to go after you. I'm going to go after your star. I'm going to beat the hell out of him, so you better stop what you're doing. And that's just part of the game. It's part of the way it is. And it's not saying that you have to go out and start brawls, everything else. And the stage fights, like I've talked about before, stage fighting needs to be gone. And it pretty much is. There was that one last week with Reeves that we talked about on 1420 in the morning about a week ago, how ridiculous that was. But that is basically gone. The Western League has already gotten rid of that too. If you get in one of these stage fights that happen right after or right when the puck drops from on a face-off and guys start fighting for no apparent reason, those guys get suspended already. So junior hockey has been proactive to get rid of fighting already, and to have the government step in and say you're getting rid of it now, or else we're going to recall our loans, or whatever the stipulations may be, is a huge mistake, because they don't understand how the game of hockey is played. Yeah, you don't want kids getting hurt 100%. I am 100% for kids not getting hurt in junior hockey and lower and everything else. But there are ways the game is constructed, and it is at the end of the day, it is an entertainment business in the National Hockey League. To a man, if you go to a hockey game, if you go to a fight, if you go to a hockey game and or you watch on TV and there is a fight, the crowd goes absolutely bananas still. People still enjoy a good scrap. There's a reason why it's still popular. Yeah, it's not the Rock'em Sock'em days of Don Cherry and everything else, and it's just not the way it is. The game is a lot different. It's much more skilled. Is the game better? Yes. Is the entertainment value better? No. Is fighting a part of the game? Yes. To a man, I would say that every National Hockey Leaguer would say that you still need to have fighting in the game no matter what. You have to have guys out there taking care of other players. You need guys to look after other players, because like I said, there are cheap shots that happen in a hockey game. There are hitting from behind. There are situations that do arise no matter what, and tempers do flare. Boys will be boys. Yes, like there is the argument when you say they're the best on best, the competition like we talked about yesterday, which hasn't happened since 2014. And McDavid spouted off on that. He must have been watching or listening to 1420 in the morning earlier on. But people say, well, in the Olympics, there's no fighting. Well, you also have a different kind of game, right? And that is the elite of the elite that are playing. And so you're not going to have the meatheads out there that are doing it. Like NHL rosters are filled out with guys that play a different role and play a different part of the game. And you're never going to get rid of fighting. People say, well, there's no fighting in college hockey. Well, they're also wearing full face shields, right? And it's a different type of game. Do tempers flare in college hockey? 100%. So to say that there's no fighting, there's a reason for it. Junior hockey, there's been fighting in junior hockey forever. I played junior hockey a long, long time ago. I wasn't very good at it, but I played. They had the rules, a one fight rule back then. The guys fought and everything else, and sometimes tempers flare, and it's just the way it is. Bench brawls aren't a thing anymore. I shouldn't say never, it rarely happens. So I don't know if banning fighting is the way to do it, and getting rid of something completely is the way to do it. It has curbed, it has slowed down considerably, but I don't know if stopping fighting is the proper way to do things. I think you would have a definite increase in injuries. You would have an increase in rats going around the ice causing more problems. I think you would have a drop in attendance. I think you would, because there's still, when you go to a hockey game, there is still the anticipation, the excitement that something might happen, and a good body check might happen. When a guy gets hit, we talked about it before, and people talk about all the time, when there's a body check that happens and then a fight just breaks out, it's ridiculous. It's 100% ridiculous. ridiculous. But the guys who do that, they're going to find themselves getting beat up afterwards too, as well, right? So there is a fine line between fighting for a reason, fighting for no reason. I get that. People should say you should never fight. Well, they've never played hockey, and like I said, boys will be boys and girls will be girls, and fighting is just a part of the game. It's been part of the game for a long, long time, and I don't know if anybody can say that one way is right and one way is wrong. Like there's obviously a conversation that needs to be had, but getting rid of fighting like the Quebec League is planning on doing, it's probably a big mistake. And what's going to happen Memorial Cup time when they play each other? Like, are they going to play by that league's rules? I'm not that there's a bunch of fighting in the playoffs, but it's still a part of the game. It's a part of the way the intimidation factor happens. You got 19-year-olds up against 16-year-olds and everything else, and 20-year-olds up against 16-year-olds. So there is an intimidation factor that does play into the mindset of the game and the gamesmanship of the game. And when that gets taken out of a hockey game, it takes away a big part of a hockey game. And I don't think that that's the right way to do things. It's a long way away from fighting. There's a lot that can happen between two teams. There's a lot of conversations that need to be had before you just say stop and that's it, because you have players who have played this way their entire lives, and changing things that abruptly and then expecting them to go to the next level where fighting might be still in the National Hockey League, which isn't, I would hope isn't going away anytime soon. When you have a kid from the Quebec League who's maybe at the age of 16 goes in there, and all of a sudden he goes to a pro camp and he's yipping and chirping and everything else, and he's not used to the fighting aspect of the game, being able to run around like a meathead and stick guys and do whatever he wants, and without the premise of getting punched in the face, he'll get a very rude awakening when he gets to the National Hockey League to his first pro camp, where there's some big dude, Ryan Reeves style, who says, "Oh, really? You're going to do that to that guy? Watch this." He gets bot finished in the face. It's a huge disadvantage for that kid. Like, it's just the way it is. I can't explain this any better. I don't think that having it one way or the other and have it black or white, sport isn't that way no matter what. And you can't just say that's it. Like minor hockey, yeah, I get it. There shouldn't be fighting. I totally understand that. But once you start playing with the big boys, and it's part of the entertainment business and part of making money, because that's why all these owners have teams, no matter what level it's at, in the Quebec League, East Coast League. Like, what are they going to do like that? A lot of kids don't make the National Hockey League, and they go to the East Coast League, where fighting is a major part of that, or the Colonial League or the Central League or whatever else league there are out there. Fighting is a huge part of these leagues. So all of a sudden that these kids are going to lose out on an opportunity to play in these leagues and play professional hockey and maybe go to the next level. Not everybody's a Connor McDavid. Not everybody's a Nathan McKinnon. Not everybody's a Cale Makar. It's just the way things are. And I think people really need to take a step back. You can't just ban something just because you don't like it. There has to be a fine line of what happens on a nightly basis in the National Hockey League. And you do need enforcers. You do need guys with, like I said, with a little tap in the laces at the face-off circle, say, hey, you better cool a little bit there, little fella, because I'm going to beat the shit out of that guy if you keep running around. It won't be you, but I'll go after that guy, and that stuff will stop that stuff from happening. And you'll see a lot more injuries, I think, with people being able to run around without the guys of getting punched back in the face. You'll see a lot more kneeing. You'll see a lot more hitting from behind. You'll see a lot more stick work. And you've seen it at a lot of levels where it's like the stick works, like you put on the full shield, a lot more sticks go up, because there's no you're not going to get hurt with a face shield on, so the stick can come up to hit a guy in the teeth, and it's not going to with a face shield on. So you're just going to see a lot more happen if they get rid of fighting. You see a lot more cheap shit happening around the ice, and I think getting rid of fighting would be a huge mistake in junior hockey and then in professional hockey and right on through, because you're going to have a lot more problems than you're having solutions with that. Anyways, there's my rant for the day. We do it every day on 1420 in the morning. Happy birthday to who do we got today? Happy birthday to Nolan Baumgartner. Once again, we're kind of not scraping the bottom of the barrel with our birthdays, but it's kind of been a tough go. Happy 47th birthday to Nolan Baumgartner, born on this day in 1976 in Calgary, Alberta, taken in the first round by Washington, 10th overall in the 1994 draft out of Kamloops. Those great Kamloops teams that were just winning year in, year out. Won 2 Memorial Cups and 2 World Junior Goals. Played 10 parts of 10 NHL seasons, 7 goals, 40 assists in Washington, Vancouver, Pittsburgh, Chicago, Philadelphia, and Dallas, and is currently the assistant coach of the Winnipeg Jets. Happy birthday to Nolan Baumgartner. Man, those Kamloops teams were unbelievable back in the day. They just couldn't seem to lose year in, year out. It was almost unfair what was going on. And I actually remember this one on this day in 1994. Mr. Wayne Gretzky scored his 802nd career goal, breaking Gordie Howe's record in a Kings 6-3 loss over the eventual Stanley Cup finalists, Vancouver Canucks, at the Forum in Inglewood, California, assisted by Marty McSorley. I was at Don Cherry's Grapevine Bar, a short-lived Grapevine Bar here in Lethbridge, Alberta, with Dave Cook and Wes Stockton. We came in. Wes just had his firstborn that year, I believe it was, and we came into Lethbridge, had a couple of pints. I think I had I can't remember what kind of beer I had. It was something, I was trying to be all cool and stuff. It wasn't just a Bud Light or anything. It was something a little bit different. But on this day, Wayne Gretzky got goal number 802. Congrats to Wayne Gretzky. Everybody knows he got 894 career goals over his illustrious career, which he could do no wrong, it seems. So on this day in 1994, man, things fly by. And Ovechkin, he just passed 802, and they had a ceremony for him just yesterday. He's already got 820. He got his 40th this season. I think it was last night or the night before. He's rolling away. But having a career to get second, or having a ceremony when a guy gets second place, it seems a bit odd to me that you would celebrate that like they did when Barry Bonds passed Babe Ruth. They didn't have a ceremony for that. It's just weird. It's an awfully weird thing that happened. But remember, thank you very much for following the show and listening every day. We passed the 10,000 download mark. Thank you very much. If we just get to 10,000 a day, that would be kind of cool too. But thank you very much for listening to 1420 in the morning. Dave and I are back tonight for 1420, the original, the OG, I guess, having that out there, doing a show tonight. On the baseball field tonight, so we might do a Hey Blue tomorrow. We'll see how things go. But thank you very much for following our show. Make sure you follow the other shows on the Belly Up network of shows. Thank you very much for Belly Up for having us. Part of your network. Things are looking up. There's lots happening there too. So follow Belly Up Sports on Twitter, Belly Up Media, and the like. But anyways, thank you very much for being a part of our show. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Support our sponsors because they keep this whole thing going a little bit. Our sponsors, there they are. They're up on the screen. It's very important that we support them. I'm starting to ramble as I do every day at this time of day. I don't know why. I just don't stop. But anyways, I like talking. Always have, always will. Anyways, thank you very much once again for joining us. Don't end fighting in junior hockey. And remember, everybody, it doesn't matter where you are. It's who you're with. Have a good day, folks. We'll talk to you tomorrow. You just listened to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. For Beer with the Sports, talking a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Let's get into it.